We need to have a conversation about how female friends can love bomb you just as easy, if not easier, than boys can. Women love bombing other women in platonic contexts is almost a bigger threat than men love bombing women in romantic ones. It is so much harder to figure out if a girl is love bombing you in the context of friendship than if a guy is love bombing you in the context of romance. And I think that this is because we have so many conversations about men love bombing women constantly that we're aware of those behaviors, we're aware of these patterns, and we can look for them and recognize them no matter what level of experience you have with dating in 2026. However, there is a huge gap in the conversation that needs to be had versus the conversation that's being had online about female friends love bombing you. We're talking about this today because in my last video, which is blowing up, and if you are a part of that, I cannot say thank you enough. If you are a subscriber that I gained from that video, I'm so happy to have you back, and I hope that this video lives up to all of your expectations that you guys had from my comment section of the last video. I am so honored for all of the love and support that I gained in that video, but it made me realize how many girls actually need to understand how other girls can love bomb you. And I guess something that I'm becoming increasingly known for online is starting conversations that nobody else wants to have, so let's get into this. If you've never seen me before, hi, my name is Emma Grace. I love having you here and I'm so excited. Please get yourself a little beverage. I'm drinking the Bloom Nutrition Pear Scare flavor today. It's buzz, like it's really good. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, like I stated previously, the best and easiest way to tell if you're being love bombed is in the context of romance between a man and a woman, or just two romantic partners in general. It is so easy to see if somebody is love bombing you in 2026 because everybody talks about it, and I would argue that people almost like over accuse romantic partners of love bombing them when in reality excitement is a very real factor in the pursuit of romance with people. And that's not to say that I think love bombing is always overused, but I do just think that it's become one of the most common words to talk about romantic wrongdoing that I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm actually in a 4-year-long relationship with my boyfriend that I've been dating since I was a junior in high school, and I'm a senior in college now. But before I met him, I constantly saw patterns of love bombing between me and guys that I would like meet, talk to, whatever, like add on Snapchat, things like that. Just teenage stuff that's very normal for young people. However, that conversation wasn't as popular as it was now than it was back then in like 2021, 2020 area. And since this term of love bombing has gained very steep popularity, like almost in line with the word gaslighting, like other very common words that people use to talk about romantic wrongdoing and everything. As it has gained popularity, I have not felt like that applies to a lot of the romantic encounters that I've personally had, but I noticed that it really, really aligned with a lot of the friendships that I have had where we met, became instant best friends, and within a month or two completely stopped talking. I hear words online in romantic contexts about like the 3-month rule or love bombing, and I don't personally relate to any of those words with my romantic experience. However, I relate so much to those terms with other women in platonic contexts. And if you also agree that you have felt manipulated or as though your friendships flew too close to the sun, genuinely this video is so helpful for you. And also, if you just feel like you constantly get friends and you constantly lose friends, this video is also for you. I think that love bombing is so easy to recognize in romantic contexts, but honestly, so many young girls are probably being pushed into cycles of getting love bombed by other women because they don't know how to recognize what's happening there. And if you never understand what's going on, you cannot recognize how you are susceptible to cycles to continue like this. I need you to hear me say this. You will never stop this from happening if you do not first understand what is happening. That's what this video is for today. At the end of the video, I will give you some tips on how to stop this from happening and how to build up a better set of boundaries to decrease the likelihood that this is going to happen to you. However, we need to talk about what is actually the core of this issue right now. Let's go over the actual definition of love bombing, and forgive me because I'm going to read this on my iPad. Love bombing is a form of emotional manipulation and psychological abuse where a person overwhelms a new partner with excessive affection, flattery, grand gestures, and early declarations of love. The goal is to create quick dependency and gain control before turning to controlling behaviors. When I read that, it perfectly fits the idea of like a toxic man or a toxic boyfriend or a toxic partner. However, it applies to friendships too, and people do not talk about this. Have you ever experienced a short, fiery, impactful friendship that ended so fast and you have no idea what happened? Have you ever experienced that happening over and over and over again? Do you ever have a friend where you feel like you just miss the old version of them and the version of them that you met in the beginning that was so nice and so kind and so uplifting, and it had just soured out of nowhere one day? Like it just turned into a completely different friendship and that person them turned into a completely different version of themselves. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. I have so many experiences of when I was love bombed with a friend, but I have one person in particular that I want to share with you a little bit of what I experienced, because you might literally relate to the exact same things that she would say to me. Love bombers use the same script. I have a theory that they all are reading on the same script. Like, there is an email chain that we are left out of and that they're getting, because they all say the same things. Like, it's not funny, but it's funny how predictable it is looking back on this. Like, how did I not know? Okay, so this girl, mind you, I've met other people who have had experiences with this person, and we all collectively agree that she was a narcissist. Not a narcissist in the sense of like the TikTok buzzword narcissist, like actual DSM-5 narcissistic personality disorder. Obviously, we can't diagnose, and it's not the most productive thing in the world to theorize, but come on, you're no better than me. I know you've thought like this before. Like, do not come here and judge me for thinking this. Also, you have no idea who I'm talking about. Okay, so she had a huge group of friends that I could not ever matriculate into. I was never allowed in this group of friends. Like, for some reason, these girls just did not like me. I was not welcome. We were not compatible. Oil and water. However, one of these girls chose me. One of these girls attached to me so fast, and to this day, I think that was a strategic move on her part to assert dominance in her group in the beginning. Like, it is ridiculous. Like, there are so many little bits and pieces of the story that you guys don't really need to know for the context of this video. Maybe I'll talk about it again when I make a video about being friends with narcissists. However, when we would hang out, she would say things like, "You're the only person who gets me. I've never felt more understood than I do with you. Like, you're literally my favorite. I wish we could hang out every day. Like, I wish you could be welcomed into this group." And then she would make absolutely zero meaningful steps to do that. So if you're being told by someone that they love being around you, they feel so connected to you, they've never felt more seen and understood than when they're with you, and then they make absolutely zero, like none, zero, zilch, any meaningful moves whatsoever. Like, zero meaningful moves to increase their access to you. Like, if they say all of this and then never do what it takes to uphold what they just said to you, this is love bombing. It's love bombing. She would say things like I was the only real friend she's ever had. She would say things like I'm her best friend, that we're closer than anyone else in her life. She would constantly talk crap about these girls, mind you, who she was best friends with for way longer than she knew me. She would constantly talk about them, and she would act as though that was almost doing me a favor because I got to see more of who she really was. She would pretend to be vulnerable with me. That's another love bombing thing, is like very shallow vulnerability that might initially seem like meaningful conversations happening between you and this person, but they actually amount to nothing because she never does anything about it. I don't know how I didn't realize I was being love bombed until after the fact, but this girl's very charming. She is very, very charming. It's easy to fall for this. It's so unfortunate. It is so easy to fall for this. It is so hard to recognize the behaviors if they've never been laid out for you. Oftentimes when you're being love bombed by a female friend, it can feel as though when you're starting to have that falling out based on the fact that she can no longer uphold this fake idea that she's pursuing or promoting. So when the love bomber is interacting with you and they're successfully love bombing you, they are actively giving this artificial affection, artificial connection, vulnerability, all of the things, even temporary prioritization. So for like a few weeks, you can be her top priority and then you just drop off the list immediately. Whenever we're having this separation from the image that they're pursuing, whenever the bomb is exploding, I guess, in this metaphor, after we get past the countdown of the love bombing, you can genuinely be left in a state of pure confusion, and you oftentimes feel like the problem is you, because we make the mistake over and over and over again that thinking that women are not sinister enough to do this to us. But here's the thing, they are. We're gonna get into the causes of this right after I get past this segment of the video. I don't think it happens on purpose all the time. I think some girls can do this without really like knowing what they're doing. However, love bombing happens to us too. Love bombing happens because of us too. And a lot of the times we underestimate the ability that women have to do this to us. So we think that when a girl is extremely nice to us and we're hearing her say, I connect to you more than I connect to anybody else. There's just something about you that is so special. You are like maid of honor material in my life. Like, I want to be friends with you for a lifetime. I love you. We are best friends. When we hear that, our brains don't even register that that could be a means to an end and that that could be fake. We automatically trust implicitly that hearing these words from someone that we've only known for a week, only known for a month, known for a very short amount of time, are completely true and a reflection of our worth. And that's why when inevitably this love bomber explodes, the love bombing ends, We feel like we absolutely deserve what happens to us next because we took credit for what happened to us first. It is so easy to see through like a man flattering us, like saying that we're the prettiest girl he's ever seen, BFFR. Like it is so easy to see that. Like it is so simple and straightforward to be like, girl, you lying. But when a woman tells you that she feels like there's like a sisterhood bond with you, it automatically feels like you earned that from her. Like you deserve to hear that because of factual, true, existing evidence that points to her having a justified reason of saying that. And that's why love bombing with women is so much more dangerous than love bombing with men. We take so much credit for the good part of the love bombing that we can't realize we don't deserve that either. We don't deserve the negative things that happen after the love bomb explodes, in like my little metaphor, my cute little metaphor. However, we don't deserve the good stuff either. Our brains can't separate this. That's why this video is so important. I'm really glad I'm making this. For everyone that requested this in the last video in the comment section, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm really glad I'm doing this. I had my doubts about this video, but I think it's going to be good. Genuinely, in my experience, I did not deserve the falling out. I did not deserve the ridicule. I did not deserve the confusion, the emptiness, the loneliness. I didn't deserve any of that, but I also didn't deserve this girl telling me that she connected to me more than she connected to anybody else, because it wasn't true. Neither stages of being love bombed are actually an accurate depiction of reality, but we don't understand this until we have experienced it and labeled it firsthand. So now let's talk about why love bombing happens, because it is so frustrating to have this happen to us, to feel so empty and so alone and so useless, and oftentimes at fault for this separation happening when, baby girl, that was the prophecy. That was in the books. That was always on the record. That was always going to happen. It was doomed from the start. Love bombing is a countdown. It is a ticking time bomb. It is actually never, ever, ever, ever a reflection on you as a person, your worth. It is a reflection on the pattern that this person is pursuing. And we need to talk about why this happens, because it's so much easier to see how to avoid it when you understand the mechanism underlying this occurrence. I personally think that love bombing can happen intentionally and unintentionally. A lot of the times if somebody is intentionally love bombing you, it's easier to spot because it's even more artificial. Like when you're aware that you're lying, it's a lot harder to cover up that you're lying, I guess. So the dishonesty is a bit more palpable. However, a lot of the times too, women don't understand that this is what they're doing. It is so hard to consistently fear being alone. The fear of isolation, the fear of loneliness, the fear of being exiled from society, the fear of being an outcast is so strong with young women in today's world, especially because the digital age makes it so much easier to compare who has friends and who doesn't, who's going to trips with people and who isn't, who's hanging out with girls at coffee shops and who's not. It is so much easier in today's world to compare your amount of friends with other people's and make these numbers the priority in determining the health and success of your social life. You and I both know that the quality of somebody's social life is not determined by the quantity of the friends they have. However, it is really hard to drill that message into everybody's head, and oftentimes a girl can unintentionally be a love bomber because she has such a deep-rooted fear of being alone, and the love bombing pattern that she's using against you or other girls like you is just a reflection on the fear that she has of that isolation. So it's just a coping mechanism to her, and in her mind she's not doing anything wrong. In her mind she is meeting people, she is convincing herself there's a connection, she is doing it because she genuinely thinks that the next friend she's gonna have is going to be her forever best friend that's going to completely cure all of her feelings of loneliness, all of her feelings of isolation, all of her feelings of an unmet desire to have a thriving social life and have a viable friend that's always going to be there for her. So genuinely, people can unintentionally love bomb you. Men can do it too, I guess, but like, who cares? Like, we're not talking about that. But genuinely, I think girls can love bomb you without even meaning to, and without understanding what they're doing, and without understanding that they're oftentimes perpetuating such a toxic cycle that is never going to work out. Like, genuinely, I don't think any love bombing situation has ever worked out for anybody. You can have excitement about new friends. You can feel like somebody understands you right when you meet them. You can feel like you were cut from the same cloth as a girl like that. I am not saying that that doesn't happen. However, I don't think love bombing ever works out because it's always artificial from the beginning. If it was a true reflection on what actually exists there, if the affection and adoration and praise and commitment that you were getting from someone was based on evidence that you guys had that true mutual understanding and you guys were really like cut from the same cloth, it wouldn't be love bombing. It would be an accurate depiction on reality. However, I think by definition, love bombing is just not going to work out. It's doomed. And girls can perpetuate that without even meaning to. In my case, I think she was doing it on purpose. Like I said, I think it was strategic. Oftentimes love bombing can happen because girls know that they can gain some kind of advantage specifically from being around you, and that can be because of the social situation that you're in, like your status relative to everybody else. That was the case for me. Like, she just wanted to show her friend group that she could be friends with anyone and she didn't have to play by their rules. She was just asserting dominance by using me because they didn't like me. It was a whole thing. However, what I think is very dangerous is if you have a personality that is susceptible to being love bombed, you're going to experience it over and over and over again. If you don't have boundaries, if you don't have discernment, if you don't have clear distinctions between what is real and what is not, if you believe the best in people, if you're a little bit more naive, sorry, it might be true, if you don't understand how to distinct between reality and something that is false, you are going to be love bombed over and over and over again. And the advantage that this girl might see in you by doing the love bombing intentionally is that she knows you're going to let her. She knows you're going to let her. She knows she's going to get away with it because you have the personality that is susceptible to that, or you have the belief systems that are susceptible to that. Like, believing the best in people constantly, it's not going to work out for you, babe. It's not going to work out for you. I wish I could make a video on healthy pessimism. I probably have unhealthy pessimism, but I think a lot of y'all need to be more pessimistic about people. Like, not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Girls are mean and scary. Girls are mean and scary, and they can manipulate you real easy. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Okay. Anyway, I think it can happen unintentionally and on purpose for all kinds of reasons, unintentionally, usually because they're afraid of being alone. We can move on to what you need to do about it, okay? Okay, have a willingness to be patient. That is the hardest lesson I've ever learned. I hate patience. I hate being patient. I hate waiting for things. I am such like a quick paced person. I love moving fast. I love doing things fast. I like walking fast. I like getting things done fast. I like moving to the next thing fast. I like moving closer to people that I love or like fast. Like, I love fast things. However, the way that I could have stopped this from happening, and the way that you can stop it from happening too, is genuinely have patience. Every time you hear someone say something like, you get me more than anybody else, like, girl, look at your context clues. Do y'all have any reason to think that? Do you guys have any real reason to think that? If no, wait it out. Give her 3 months, give her 4 months, give her 6, give her a year. I don't care. Like, you will know in your gut what time is right when you separate yourself from absolutely believing everything that you see at face value. The second your mindset shifts from just believing whatever people tell you and going along with whatever flow the other person is operating on, you will start to give yourself the space to listen to your intuition, listen to your gut. You have it. That is something that I want to continually push to people on my channel, is that everything I'm telling you to do, you already have the tools for. You just need to like commit to using them. You already have it. This is not something that you will never accomplish. This is something you will start successfully accomplishing immediately. This second I realized I needed to just give people a dang second. The second I realized I needed to give women a little bit longer than like a free trial for 7 days, like, I started avoiding this pattern so easily, and you can too. It is so simple. That's it. That's all it takes. As always, I'm so glad that you chose to watch this video. I'm so blessed for your time. Thank you so much for being here. And if you took any part in blowing up my last video, I love you. I'm so honored to have you back. Thank you so much for watching this. Comment down below if you have anything that you want me to know or anything that you think is like relevant advice to this. I read all the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.